Welcome to Karma on Deck. I'm Karma. This is your Cancer Weekly reading for August 12th. Let's get these cards out and spin a little bit. Here we go. Here we go, Cancer. This is for you. Ace of Wands. It's one of my favorite cards. Fully capable. I'm just going to call out your major cards as I'm laying them out so you can see some of the tones that are going on. First one, I call them aces, pivot points. So we've got the Ace of Wands. Strength and the Tower. We have the Hierophant, the Empress, and then an Ace of Swords. So, Ace of Wands, capable. What is it that you're capable of? The Ace of Wands denotes an individual who has a laboratory that's fully equipped with all the things that he needs to attain, as in equipment and tools, in order to get something done. So the Ace of Wands, wands representing work, the activity and stuff that you do with your hands. So what is it that you're actively doing? This card represents that work, and it also gives you a little key and a clue into how much potential there is behind this one, because it tells us you're fully equipped. We see the Nine of Wands next to the Four of Wands. So that means not only do you have a strong foundation, but that you're making good progress. We have the Strength card next to the Tower. So the Tower card is not so great, although it is also one of my favorites. Here's the reason. The Tower card, okay, so if any of you have seen Final Destination, you know there's moments, all the moments, and there's a guy standing on the sidewalk and he's looking back and yapping his mouth, and he's got no awareness of where he's at. And as he steps off of the curb, there comes a bus. Sometimes the universe gives us a bus, but it's mostly when we're not paying attention or making choices that we know we shouldn't have, or aren't making choices at all and just kind of going with the flow, because it's a lot easier to just be mediocre than it is to like take a stand on some things, or sometimes it's uncomfortable for us to use our voice. So the Tower card is one of those moments where things come in and shake things up. Now, this isn't what's coming for you. This is your come from. You've already had your tree shaken, right? Girl, I love your peaches. Let me shake your tree. This is a strong foundation. You've got the Nine of Wands, Four of Wands. Four of Wands is like your house and your structure, okay? Nine of Wands is the stairway, the steps, halfway there. Right? Also a lot of work, putting in a lot of work. So the Tower card is in this sentence. But what's important is you have the Strength card. So that's your background and where your come from is and how you're pushing forward. The Tower card says your foundation's already been shaken. You have the Strength card, which means you're using wisdom and finesse on these next few steps. Inner strength, right? Now, there's a strong core to you right now of leadership and nurturing, with the Hierophant and the Empress paired together. The Empress is feminine power. It has to do with nurturing. It has to do with holding the line for the values of love. Also, all the embodiment of the divine feminine in a lot of ways. So some of you are men, and that's okay. We're talking about nurturing things, okay? So throughout all of this, what I'm seeing is things are moving kind of fast. You have the Queen of Cups, so you're kind of in your emotions. You also have the Ace of Cups. I didn't see that there. So you have Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords. So when it comes, you're at a pivot point with decision making. You are probably have already reached this pivot point and you're like in flux now. That's why everything feels like it's so much in motion and moving too fast. This might be, you might have been coming out of a whole hangman phase where things were kind of stuck, and now suddenly, boom, things are moving kind of quickly. So the only thing that concerns me, well, it doesn't even concern me. I just want to mention that you still feel undecided on how to move forward on some things. So the Two of Swords, new baby's barking. Two of Swords is indecision. You've got this scale in the middle. So you're asking yourself to break this analysis paralysis. You're asking yourself, I don't need any more information. It's time to make decisions. Whoa, Ace of Swords. And then we have the Ace of Wands. So you're fully capable. Ace of Swords speaking to it, and Ace of Cups coming from the heart. So whatever this is that was going on, or has been for you, mostly it has pulled you toward making the right decisions through the Hierophant, which is our moral compass. This is the card that tells us we're measuring against our programs, how we think, and bringing our outside world into alignment with what we think. Like, is the outside matching the inside? right? The Hierophant can be anything from religion to belief systems via gender. Like, I should be more ladylike. You know what I'm saying? It's like those little voices inside our head where it's like, what governs our behavior. Originally, this card referenced spirituality. So if we flip it back to the spirituality or origins and we ask, what is our moral compass? What is it that drives us spiritually? Right? I mean, this is a lot to do with the guilt and shame, how it's placed. You know, the certain religions have the guilt and shame because there's a puppet here. There's a puppet in this card and someone's pulling these strings, and usually it's got like the papal thing, and then these are the rules and whatever. So what rules do you feel like you have to obey? Are they real or imagined? I mean, if it's doing the right thing, I can always live with that, right? So sometimes we put it up here and we go, that's the thing. Because ultimately I know that I can live with myself. I walked out of the store with a chicken in the bottom of my basket and ran it back over to the register. And he said, I was going to let you go. I was just worried you leave it in the bottom of the basket. I said, I can't even steal a grape to see if it's sweet at Walmart because I'll feel so guilty not paying for it. So we have these moral little guidelines, right? So with the Queen of Swords in play, this is one more card that has to do with delivery and how you're delivering things. You've got the Page of Wands too, which is learning something new. Some of you may be going back to school. One of your worries with this next phase is what things are going to look like. You've got the Three of Wands. This is that expectation of audience. Somebody's going to gossip or somebody's going to say something. You have the Queen of Swords. I call that my bitch card. Those of you that know me know that this is sometimes when you got to bring the sword out and deliver the punch. And people don't like it. It is what it is. Queen of Swords has a lot to do with decisiveness, walking away, being firm, clear, direct, right? So as you sit undecided, remember, those are some of the come-froms that you have opportunities to use. Let's take a look at your moon reading for Cancer Moon. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. To book your one-on-one, visit karmaondeck.com. Join me in some of the classes or take on some spiritual mentorship so you can get a handle on these ascension symptoms. Take direction instead. You know, everybody's like, you know, they act like this awakening thing is all like some mystical weather that comes in and you're never going to see it coming. But what's true is you can choose it. You can choose it. And there are ways. All right, here we go for Cancer Moon. King of Wands. Ooh, the Emperor. So let's see here. I'm really feeling as if Cancer is feeling that they are holding themselves back a little bit. You have one of the congruency cards that you have between your general and your moon reading is the, where'd it go? I was just looking at it. Strength card. So you've got the Strength card, right? And it always shows a lion in submission. But most of the time they have this really happy look on their face. You can't get a happy animal or a happy partner without having a little finesse and grace and love. I've been talking about that a lot lately. Strength really has a lot to do with mental fortitude than it does more so than physical strength. Like you can't tame a lion with a stick the same way you can. Well, you really can't train an animal with a stick. It doesn't work as well. It's always going to backfire, right? So you feel like you've been turning your back on some opportunities that you have for leadership. We've got an Emperor right here and the King of Wands. So I don't feel like you're beating yourself up, but I think that you're in this self-awareness phase where you're taking a strong look at what you've accomplished and what your potential is. I'm also seeing Queen of Pentacles, that you really want to establish, like you're very worried about your image, right? And you're coming from a little bit of a defensive standpoint. Some of you out there have some love and lover's energy. You've got the Two of Cups, the Ace of Cups, and the Hangman, which tells me, and these are very individual, so I couldn't really do a global reading on love and lovers, but we have the Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, and the Two of Cups, which means a decision is at hand. You're feeling a little stuck and defensive. So Knight of Pentacles and Page of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is your new beginning. Your Page of Pentacles is your new beginning. Your Knight of Pentacles is your impulses. So it's telling you to be careful with your impulses, and maybe you're worried about that a little bit. You just jumped before you looked, right? You also have the Queen of Pentacles, which is your image. Again, we've got twos here. Two of Pentacles, maybe, just maybe you're juggling too much. All right, let's pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients and see what your oracle card is for this week. Confirmation. There you go, guys. If you're looking for signs, confirmation, pay attention. So I want to just point something out here. When it comes to looking for a confirmation, we don't just randomly hear the wind blow and go, oh, look, it's grandma, or a feather, right? What we need to do is make a decision. The universe doesn't make a decision for us on our behalf. The universe is in direct result of decisions we've already made, right? As a collective, as an individual. But when you're asking for a confirmation, you make a decision and then ask, so that the decision is already made, and then you'll get your confirmation rather than just wandering, if that's helpful. Also, shooting star can talk about your astrology, right? Are you looking toward the aspects? If you have a little, like, I remember when I first started to practice with astrology, I was just listening to other people's aspects at the time and listening to what I would call the weather. And it was really my energetic weather report, because I could tell, like, in what ways I would have conflict. Whether I wanted to take it on or not was a whole other thing. But sometimes if it was something I didn't want to take on, I would avoid. Like, Mercury retrograde is me time right now. Like, I've gone through so many relationship turnabouts and healing that I feel like everybody's right where they're supposed to be. And if they knock on my door, I just wave a little bit and pass them on by, right? I don't engage with too much in-depth stuff during Mercury retrograde when there's such a high potential for it to go sideways, because I love my people, right? We're not going to have a conflict or bring something up during those 3 weeks. If we can make it through and have a little more grace, it'll go smoother, right? Anyways, I digress. So we have the shooting star, confirmation. So if you have a question as well that you're waiting for confirmation for, this is it as well. So think that through. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. I will be back shortly. Let me see, with Leo. So I'll be right back with Leo. I got to hustle because I have a client at 3:30. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. Please like, subscribe, and share. Join me on my YouTube. That's where I'd love to have your company, and I'll catch you at a few. See you on the flip side.